I'm going to show you 10 toys I had as a kid that you didn't have. Ready to get jealous. Welcome back to the Junk Room, everybody. It's me, the Junkman, coming back at you with another video. And today, I'm going to make you jealous. I'm sorry I have to do this. I thought about it, I debated it. I said, man, I don't know if I should do this because I don't want to make you guys sad. But I'm going to show you 10 cool toys I had as a kid that I don't think most of you had. Now, I'm going to pause this because somebody's going to say, I had that one. So, there were some other cool kids out there. But, I bet you didn't have all 10 like I did. Even if you did somehow manage to get one of these. Now, before we get started, let me tell you about 2 new shirts over at junkmanmerch.com. You can get the one from Kmart. We talked about that one already. And this one new, that's a vintage late 70s Mego toy ad shirt. I really like this one. I might have to order that one for myself. Now, I got that out of the way. Let's talk about 10 toys I had as a kid that you're going to wish that you had. Now, I'm not going to waste any time. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We're going to get right to it. We're going to talk about mini bathtubbies. These were little wind-up toys that you put in the bathtub. And I had the Dolphin. Now, I didn't have the full line, so maybe you had another one. But I had the Dolphin. And no, I didn't call him Flipper. I was more original than that. I called him Steve. He was a lot of fun to put in the tub. As a guy that didn't like to take baths back in the late 70s, this made me want to get in the tub, wind it up, watch him swim around my genitalia. It was a lot of fun, and I'm sure you would have had a lot of fun playing with this if your parents loved you enough to buy you a mini wind-up dolphin. Sadly, they did not. So let's get to number 9. Man, it's the time I got a big rubber of Woody. That's right, a big Woody Woodpecker rubber toy, kind of like a Bendham. And it was awesome because I didn't see much Woody Woodpecker stuff as a kid, and I was a big fan of Woody Woodpecker. He's an instigator. He's a troublemaker. I love it. It's probably why I troll on social media so much today. Some of my heroes growing up was, of course, Woody Woodpecker and Andy Kaufman. Always stir the pot. Isn't that a lot of fun? But I had this rubber Woody Woodpecker. Now, there was a Woody Woodpecker doll that I saw on a trip to New Orleans as a kid that I cried for from my parents, but they never would buy it for me. So even if I have these 10 cool toys that my parents got me, they didn't give me everything I wanted. And I still remember that, Dad, that Woody Woodpecker doll. Never saw a doll Woody Woodpecker ever again. And a little piece of my childhood was ruined. But my childhood get better when I got a workbench. I can remember asking for a workbench because I knew a kid that had one in a shed at his old house. But I wanted a workbench also so I could work on some tools, although I didn't like playing with tools. But I didn't get your standard Southern Boy workbench. Nope, I got this one, the Incredible Hulk workbench. How awesome is that? Whew, you didn't like me when I was a kid? Well, you really wasn't going to like me when I was working on my Hulk workbench. How awesome is this? I have a lot of fun memories as a kid of beating my woodbench, my Hulk woodbench. Now, I'm going to tell you about the coolest motorcycle I ever had. Why? Because of who was driving it. Hawkeye. Hawkeye driving a motorcycle. No, I'm not talking about that Hawkeye from the Marvel Universe. I'm talking about the coolest Hawkeye of the 70s. Hawkeye Pierce. Yep, he came on a motorcycle. And not only was he on a motorcycle, he could pop a wheelie. Huh, take that, Loretta Swit. Could you pop a wheelie, Loretta Swit? No, I don't think so. Jamie Farr, could you pop a wheelie on a plastic motorcycle? No, I don't think so. What about you, Radar? Could you pop a wheelie? No, you couldn't even ride a motorcycle. Yep, I had Hawkeye riding a motorcycle. And not only did he ride a motorcycle, he loved to ride down the stairs in my house. It was a lot of fun. That was until I cracked the front wheel, but it was a lot of fun before that. And now it's time to put your bookmark in. While most of you just have some boring bookmark if you're reading a book, I had a cool bookmark, which is ironic because I didn't like to read. I was never going to read on purpose unless maybe it was Starlight Magazine or Fangora or maybe the TV Guide. Other than that, I was trying not to read. But I had a bookmark just in case I ever did want to read. And it was an awesome bookmark. Not some stupid bookmark like you had as a kid. This was Popeye. You remember the sailor, the one that ate his spinach? I've never eaten spinach in my life, and I hope I never do. But I love watching Popeye eat his spinach because it gave him big fat muscles. It could give me big fat muscles. Hell, it could give me $1 million a week. I'm not eating spinach. It looks like probably one of the most disgusting foods ever made. But Popeye didn't care, and my Bookmark didn't care. I never really got to use this. I thought it was cool, but I never did get to use it because, again, I only really read magazines, and you didn't really put bookmarks in magazines. I mean, I wasn't that nerdy. But let's talk action figures. That's why most of you guys here to see action figures, and I'm going to show you an action figure. I didn't have the whole line, but I had one from this line, and you're going to like, why did I even know about that action figure line? I would have got that. And I had the Spinks from the action figure line. Infaceables. Ooh, Infaceables. This was the Spinks, man. This was a cool action figure line, and I always wanted more from this toy line, but this is the only figure I ever got. I think after about a month, I moved on to something else. I probably got this in the early 80s, probably begged my grandma for it back during the time I was really heavy into a game called Rackatoo. I doubt anyone remembers Rackatoo, but I remember it because it was a game on a cassette tape on my TRS-80 computer, and I love playing Rackatoo. But my best thing about playing Rackatoo was that I got to say Rackatoo. I remember going to school and asking everybody, hey, did you play Rackatoo? Or, hey, I solved Rackatoo. Hey, I ran out of time on Rackatoo. I was always telling people about my Rackatoo. Hey, Amy, you want to come over and see my Rackatoo? But no one knew what I was talking about. No one else had a TRS-80 computer. No one knew you could play video games on a cassette tape. And no one cared about the word Rackatoo. No one had fun saying it. And most people just walked off as soon as I pulled out my Rackatoo. I should have put a Rackatoo on this list. Let's move on. One that's not going to surprise many of you guys that watch my videos. I had a car from the television show Riptide. Who didn't love Riptide? Hey, what? You didn't love Riptide? Why? It was private investigators. They had a boat and a helicopter and this cool car. And most of all, they had a robot and a nerd. You couldn't beat anything in the 80s that had a robot and a nerd. They went together like peanut butter and jelly, like bologna and chili. It just, things are made to go together. And I had this car, and it was awesome. And it was the coolest car out of all the cars I had. Sadly, I've lost it. But I saw at Walmart one today. They redone this, although it looks a little different. But it was cool to go into a store in 2022 and see something Riptide related on a toy shelf. Who would ever thought we'd see that? Well, let's talk about a kind of silly toy I had that was a lot of fun, at least for about 2 weeks. Rolling Eyes. These were wind-up little toys that wore glasses. How funny is that? It used to make me laugh a lot. I would put it on my dresser, wind it up, sit back like this, and just wait. Wait for it to wobble over to the edge and fall off. Then it would lay on its side. Its legs would still move and make that pitiful, sad engine sound like it was dying. And I would just laugh and giggle, then pick it up, wind it up, and do it all over again. I had this. You didn't have it, but I had it, and you're jealous now. Now time to get really jealous about a portable game I used to play in the car. You know, when you went on long vacation trips, what did you have? That water game with the loops? Huh, that wasn't any fun if your dad hit a pothole. What did I have? Well, I could drive a car in the back seat of my car, thanks to a thin sheet of paper, a conveyor belt, and a plastic steering wheel. That's right, I had Drive Yourself Crazy. This was great. It was a little plastic car hooked to a steering wheel, had a gear shift, and a piece of paper that would just flip over and over to a conveyor belt, but you had to see if you could stay on the road. This thing was a lot of fun. It was awesome. I know you kids today with your Game Boys and your Sonic the Hedgehog portable games, but no, this was the portable game to have back then. I know. I had electronic football. I don't play sport games, or real sports at that. But I did have Drive Yourself Crazy, and boy did I drive myself crazy with this game. And the number one toy I had as a kid that you didn't have, but you're going to wish you did. You're probably going to pick up your phone and call your parents and say, hey, did you not love me or something? Why didn't you buy me this? Well, I had a toy CB radio. In fact, it was called Smokey CB, and I had this thing, and it was awesome. If you grew up in the 70s, there were 3 things that were just awesome. Vans. We all know a decked out van was just awesome. Evel Knievel, anytime you saw that guy, was awesome. And CB radios. Yes, it was kind of like the social media back in the 70s. You even had your own nickname, kind of like a username. That's right. Some people had a lot of cool names. Some people was Giddy Up Go. Some people was Teddy Bear. Some people was Christmas Carol. But I had my own nickname. And that was Georgia Red KoolAid. What a great CB name. Breaker 19, what's your 1040? This is Georgia Red KoolAid, and we got a bear in the air. Yes, it was a lot of fun. You're jealous. I sat in my room and played with this thing for hours and hours and hours. And my parents would be like, why isn't Junk Kid going outside and playing with other kids? Why isn't he playing the board game we got him with his brothers and sisters? Because he was sitting in his room talking to a plastic CB radio. Oh, the people I met talking on that thing. I know, my parents were like, it's not a real CB, it doesn't work. You can't really talk to people, it's just plastic, it's just a toy. It's like, no, I met a lot of friends on that thing, at least up here in my mind. It was a lot of fun. Well, that's a look at 10 toys I had as a kid that you didn't have. Again, you can tell me in the comments, oh, Junkman, I had that. But I bet you didn't have all 10 like I did. Well, I'm through bragging right now, so as always, head over to junkmanmerch.com, get you a shirt, and until the next video, thumb about this one so I like my content, subscribe to the channel, and you know we'll talk again soon.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.